Hi everyone, in this video I will explain how you can create useful plugins within Matomo. Not the perfect way, but that's still interesting. So one of the main issues that I have with Matomo is that a lot of useful features are in fact hidden within the API. So to say, you need to be able to execute some HTTP request in order to make them work, which is the one that you can find over here in platform APIs. Probably one of the one that I wish I could have a user interface for it is the annotation API with the add method, which allow you to import multiple annotations within Matomo Analytics. So because I get this frustration, I was thinking about developing a plugin for this, named import annotation. First question that you need to address is where would you like this plugin to appear? So I could definitely decide to create it within the admin section. I finally decided to create it as a widget, mostly because I don't know, I just wanted to do it as a widget, as I think it's a feature which concerns everyone, but that we are not using every day. So I was thinking more about hiding it over here. That's probably the reason why I decided to make it as a widget. So in order to make it as a widget, you need to go on the developer documentation of Matomo. So for the annotation part, APIs part, it's over here. So what I'm trying to do is to use this given method. And in terms of things to develop, of course, you need to have a working development environment. And then you need to be able to create a widget. So widget task is over here. Okay, so I'm not gonna describe how I created the widget. I just take the default code of Matomo and then I use ChatGPT in order to discuss with it. In fact, I feel interest with the widget thing as well, because when you create a widget by default, the only thing you have is the return function with some HTML over here. So it was kind of easy for me to identify that we could go for some HTML. I was thinking of a form, so that's why I asked for a form, but the issue that I faced is that every time that I was sending this given form, it wasn't executing the URL. So I was thinking about why not generating a URL, and then if I click on it, I will have exactly the same result as if I was clicking on one of those URL. In fact, as you can see on those URL, when you click on them, the URL here down below is getting executed, and you are getting in fact the result displayed over here. So here it's not working because maybe there wasn't any for this given date, but if you take like a year of data, oops, and that you do the same thing but for a year period, you are getting it. So JSON, and then you get it. Okay, so just one click, then the request is executed. So I discussed with ChatGPT, and it ended up in the following script, in which I had the variables which were already filled in, and it provided me with all this form. The big part, I will say, well, there was numerous part. It took me like probably an hour in order to discuss with ChatGPT in order to get the right result, because of course, in order to import annotation, you need to mention a date, you need to mention text, and so on and so forth. And as well, you are making a bulk request. So bulk request within Matomo means like sending multiple requests and not just one. And that's what I wanted to show you. So I get my file over here. I enter the dummy data. As you can see, the ID is that there's going to be a comma separated value. So I expect that. So imagine that you have a file like this, okay, with some dummy data. So of course the date need to be properly written, and so as the text over here. Then you just need to copy and paste these all things up. I'm gonna use Guinea again because I need to add a comma over here for each of them. So by default it's tab. Let's go for a comma. Okay, so I haven't tested it, but that should work. So normally, if I copy all of this, that I go over there, that I copy. So here I get the right format. If I click on generate the URL, it's gonna, of course it's ugly, right? The idea is to hide all of this. Should be kind of easy because I can just say click me to import instead. Hold on, I'm just gonna modify this. So if I go over here and generated URL, blah blah blah, anchor link. Well, honestly, it seems like a bit more difficult than I was imagining. Okay, anyway, I will ask ChatGPT to correct it. So here I get my long URL, and if I click on it, that should do the work. So now, if I just refresh my page, normally I should see annotation all along over here. I'm not saying that this is the perfect plugin. Of course, as you can imagine, it's not good enough in order to be sent live, but definitely you can see that I'm on the right track, because that's, as I say, about an hour in order to code it, and the final idea is of course that I can get all my annotations over here. So let's see. Normally those should be mine, I guess, so let's have a look at them. Okay, so as you can see, they have been all imported as expected, and it can import annotation on the same given day. And yeah, that's what I wanted to show you now, with some just common sense, the fact that the feature already exists with Matomo, but you don't have a user interface yet, but you have ChatGPT, so you can ask to ChatGPT to generate the user interface. Of course, after you need to adapt the script and to be a bit smart, but as you can see, at the end of the day, you almost start to get a plugin which looks like what you expect. And of course, here the idea will be to be able to easily provide additional features such as this one or smart feature, in order, of course, to make the user interface of Matomo even more powerful.